Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, an autopsy for Amanda Stevenson, the woman who went missing last November, has revealed the cause of death.
Today is the May 28th runoff. This evening we highlight the races we'll be following, including the runoff for GOP House Representative for the state District 30.
And severe weather hitting multiple parts of Texas, thousands now without power.
We've got severe weather all over the place. The line of storms that came through Houston this afternoon has finally moved offshore. We got clips. It could have been very different for us, as we might have had some severe weather. But guess what? Tonight there is severe weather to the west. Will it make it this far? That's the big question. We'll be talking about it.
And two area teams already in Austin as they begin that quest for a state title. That's in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia. We're going to begin with weather this evening. Let's toss it over to Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis.
Well, thank you very much. We have it up as an alert day for today because scattered thunderstorms were rolling down, got very close to us. There's still possible we may get more activity. That's for tonight and tomorrow. So for the Crossroads, we're just going to have to keep watching. Now, last night, it all began up in Oklahoma City, went through Dallas, went right down I-45, caused huge problems in Houston. Another flooding day, another day of hail. In fact, to the south of Houston, Clear Lake City, they got quarter-sized hail all afternoon. And while that's moving offshore, then we have to look at this stuff. It's coming into far west Texas. It'll be moving that direction, so we'll watch very carefully to see if it's going to make it to our area. We'll have more on your weather coming up a little bit later on. Right now, we'll toss it back to the anchors.
Mac, thank you. Officials released the autopsy on Amanda Stevenson, the 20-year-old woman who went missing last November and whose body was recovered near Patriot Park in Victoria. The manner of Stevenson's death was homicide, and the cause of death was determined to be by blunt head trauma and possible drowning. A report also tested positive for marijuana, alcohol, and meth. Authorities named 45-year-old Kevin Bennetson as the suspect. He was previously pulled over by police in connection to Stevenson's disappearance, but when authorities wanted to question him again, he took his own life with a handgun.
One of the largest public school districts in North Texas closed Tuesday, and hundreds of thousands of customers were without power after another wave of savage storms hit that region.
This as Texas and surrounding states still are reeling after weekend deadly tornadoes that killed at least 24 people.
Parts of the central U.S. once again in the crosshairs of savage, destructive storms. Torrential rain and powerful winds whipped through the Dallas, Texas area early Tuesday, bringing wind gusts over 80 miles an hour and large hail to some areas. The widespread damage to some homes and businesses on par with that suffered over the past weekend from deadly tornadoes across that same region.
I have never prayed so hard in my whole life.
Texas was among the hardest hit with several fatalities and many survivors still reeling from other difficult losses.
We've lost cows, we've lost pigs, we lost one of our dogs. My husband's lost his horse.
Tuesday's new wave of storms also striking on primary election day in Texas, leaving more than a third of one county's polling places in the dark.
I signed a declaration of disaster as we have hundreds of thousands of customers without power.
More than 750,000 customers as tracked by PowerOutage.us, about half of those in Dallas County.
This, unfortunately, will be a multi-day power outage situation.
Critical infrastructure like hospitals and emergency response services will be prioritized for service before residential homes. The severe weather threat continues for Texas and parts of Oklahoma and Louisiana into the evening hours. Another 9 million people face a similar risk in the High Plains Wednesday, from northern Colorado up into North Dakota. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
3 area counties will get SNAP food benefits after recent storms. Governor Greg Abbott says recipients in Calhoun, Lavaca, and Wharton counties impacted by recent storms can buy hot foods and ready-to-eat meals with their benefits. Federal approval allows SNAP recipients to buy hot foods with their Lone Star cards through June 30th. To apply, recipients can dial 211 and select option 8. Benefits will be placed on their Lone Star cards within 2 business days once benefits are approved.
Tonight, former Mayor of Victoria Jeff Bouknight and former Jackson County Sheriff A.J. Louderback go head-to-head for the District 30 House seat.
25 News Now reporter Darius McCormick is following this race. Darius?
You guys, this race is nothing short of nasty. Each candidate has hurled insults at one another for months now.
We started on the positive, and my opponent chose to start going negative. I've really never seen what he's going to do for the people of the House District.
You can say what you want in a campaign. You can misinform, whatever you want to do. And that's just campaign propaganda. I mean, my record stands clear.
Each candidate claims the other is not truly conservative enough to run District 30. A.J. Louderback questioned Jeff Bouknight's quote-unquote defensive LGBTQ plus books, while Bouknight's campaign claimed Louderback attempted to defund Operation Lone Star.
If we start going down the path and having government officials select what can and cannot be in the library, someone's going to come back around and say the Bible can't be in the library.
This is a ridiculous assertion that I would be a part of any kind of issue like that. And we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars.
Beyond the mudslinging, we asked each candidate about their biggest issue, and they both said border security. The winner tonight will face Democrat Stephanie Bassam in the November election. Back to you guys at the desk.
Darius, thank you. Two candidates are in the runoff race for Victoria County Commissioner Precinct 3. That is Shannon Martin and Brad Tucker. Martin previously served the Victoria Fire Department for over 35 years and won 49% of the vote in the March 5th primary. Now Martin faces Brad Tucker in this Victoria County Commissioner Precinct 3 race. Tucker, a Victoria native, worked in the construction industry for 25 years. He owned and operated Tucker Construction Company for 18 years, and in the March 5th primary, Tucker won 35% of the vote.
In Lavaca County, two candidates are on the runoff for sheriff there. They are incumbent Sheriff Micah Harmon and candidate Stephen Greenwell. Harmon spent more than 44 years in the public service, serving as the Justice of the Peace first before he was elected to Lavaca County Sheriff in 2004. Harmon plans to address the cartel issues in Lavaca County. As for Stephen Greenwell, he received 43% of the vote in the primary election. Greenwell has more than 25 years of law enforcement experience and served in positions focused on combating drug trafficking, human trafficking, and other crimes.
We are also following the race for a county tax assessor in Calhoun County. That's between Azalea Bonus and Tracy Johnson. Bonus received 37% of the vote and Johnson received 43% of the vote.
Two candidates are headed to a runoff in the race for Calhoun County Precinct 5 Constable incumbent David Thomas and Chelsea Holt. Thomas received 39% of the vote and Holt received 41% of the vote.
So here is your Veer poll. The question is, will today's inclement weather interfere with voter turnout? According to our results, it looks like, and this is good news, 97% voted no and the remaining 3% voted yes. Thank you for voting. We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And we're going to have an update tonight on 25 News Now at 10.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on
YouTube.
Thank you. All right, stay with us. The Israeli military will continue its offensive operation in Rafah. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, the latest in the Israel-Hamas war.
Also ahead, alpacas test positive for the bird flu. Those details next. To get even more difficult to get aid into Gaza. On Sunday, rough seas in the Mediterranean tore apart this pier. It was built by the U.S. military specifically to get humanitarian aid into the region. The $320 million project has only been operational since May 17th. But in that time, 820 metric tons of critical aid for Palestinians passed through it. The pier was always meant to be temporary, and it can only operate safely when waves are lower than 3 feet and winds are slower than 15 miles per hour. Now, the IDF has resumed its operation in Rafah 2 days after its deadly airstrike killed 50 Palestinians.
Benjamin Netanyahu categorized the airstrike as a, quote, tragic mishap, unquote, resulting from what he called a technical failure that will be investigated.
But Netanyahu insists the operation must continue in Rafah to completely eliminate Hamas.
With smoke billowing over Rafah, children fleeing as blasts sound in the street. Today, the White House broke its silence on the IDF's Sunday airstrike that killed 50 Palestinian civilians and injured hundreds more, according to the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry. It hit some 200 meters from a designated humanitarian zone in western Rafah.
Israel must take every precaution possible to do more to protect innocent life.
Satellite images show the site of the tent camp before May 26th, then on Monday, with the charred aftermath of the explosion that caused a fire that quickly spread.
This is a devastating incident which we did not expect. We're investigating what caused the fire that resulted in this tragic loss of life.
The airstrike targeted and killed 2 senior Hamas officials, according to the IDF. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu admits the civilian deaths were the result of a technical failure, calling it a tragic mishap. Today, the IDF's Rafah operation presses on. It insists troops are moving with precision and engaging with Hamas in close quarters. More than 1 million Palestinians have left Rafah in the past 3 weeks, according to a UN aid group. The Biden administration, having previously threatened to withhold support to Israel should it conduct a massive operation in Rafah, is now left with a decision on how it wants to move forward.
We still don't want to see the Israelis, as we say, smash into Rafah with large units over large pieces of territory.
Gaza's health ministry, run by Hamas, says more than 36,000 Palestinians have been killed since the war began. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Bird flu is now confirmed in alpacas for the first time. The animals that tested positive were on a farm in Idaho where poultry had tested positive for the virus. The USDA noted finding other infected animals on the same farm as infected birds was not necessarily a surprise. Scientists have closely watched the H5N1 virus for roughly 2 decades. While it has primarily affected birds, the virus has been infecting a wider variety of mammals in recent years. Dairy cows in Texas were testing positive for bird flu, including 1 human being as well.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Skies have cleared a little bit, but boy, for a while there, it looked like we were going to get some severe weather. Well, now it's the end of May and June 1st, the beginning of tropical storm season. On June 3rd, we have a special program that we prepared. We'd like to invite you to watch. It's on June 3rd at 6:30 p.m. after our 6 o'clock news. It's a 30-minute special on Storm Prep 2024. We've had quite a few stories contributed by our staff, including about building codes, including about what the ranchers are going to do with their cattle, about what you need to have when and if they call an evacuation. We'll have all that on June 3rd. In the meantime, we'll be back in just a few minutes. Take a look at the severe weather around Texas tonight. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's 83 degrees. You might have noticed that we had some big cloudy, windy weather that rolled through. We could have gotten hammered by a big thunderstorm, but it just collapsed very close to our area. The high temperature officially was 95 before all the huffing and puffing came through. And of course, that compares to 90, our seasonal average, and 99, which is our record storm. There you see the clearing skies, but watch this. Line of showers came right through. I mean, it went over Cuero. Cuero got rain. I think Yoakum got rain, but then it got to the Victoria County line and just stopped. So tonight, all the big stuff has finally moved offshore. Houston, pity our friends in Houston. They got another line of storms with vicious winds to 75 miles an hour. That is finally moved offshore. And this complex, you can call it a derecho or a squall line, began in Oklahoma last night and went all the way south. Now, while that is sort of clearing out our area, guess what's happening out here? Big thunderstorms firing along the dry line. This one has a much better chance of getting across the border and into Texas. The dome of high pressure has moved a little bit farther south, so it's allowing some of this stuff to pop. Remember, under it, it's very difficult for the storms to really take off, but when it drops a little bit south, you'll see that. Got an incredible piece of videotape from Puebla, Mexico, on hail, if you haven't seen it yet. Here's the stormy weather that rolled from Oklahoma through Dallas all the way down I-45 through Houston right about this afternoon, and then finally moved offshore. I was telling Karina, you got to check on family, because if they didn't lose power last week, they might have lost it today, because this was a very nasty line. Now, the big stuff out to the west. As I've mentioned, if they get big and tall enough, they get caught by the upper winds, and then they become sailboats and they direct themselves toward us. So down south, this activity looks like it will cross into the border, and then we're going to have to watch and wait to see where it gonna go. Now, again, the severe weather is about over for the time being. All the Doppler radar activity has ended. It's all moved out offshore, and it was pretty nasty. Had heavy hail, hail all over southeast Houston. In fact, from Gulf Gate all the way down to Alvin, they had reports of quarter-inch hail this afternoon. Again, this afternoon, we still have advisories out in western areas of Texas. This is our latest image, and you can see how it's beginning to just about to cross over into the Eagle Pass area and Piedras Negras. Now, this is rainfall total over the last 24 hours. 4 to 5, 6 inches up in Dallas. Heavy in the 2 to 3s down in Houston, and you can see how the heavy rain came down as far as Wharton. They get some in the Edna area, and look at this. Here's Victoria, here's Cuero. Cuero, Yoakum got pretty solid rainfall, so did Gonzales, probably in the 1 to 2 inch range, and we got a few drops. That's about it. And of course, last night, if you were watching the 10 o'clock, big complex of storms coming in off the mountains of Mexico into the valley, and it got up as far as maybe Falfurrias and stopped. Now down there, they're happy to get any kind of rain because it's been so dry for so long. We do have advisories for tomorrow for a heat advisory. We're not included in that, but it's going to be warm and steamy, but not as bad as the weekend. I'll tell you why. We're going to be only in the mid-90s, or low 90s rather. Tonight, possibilities out there, and then we'll watch and wait to see what happens for the rest of the week. But because of the instability now arriving, we have a chance for more showers tomorrow, especially in the afternoon hours. Well, certainly, if you see a big, tall, dark cloud, do watch out. 40% chance for Wednesday, 30 on Thursday, and then decreasing as we get on into the weekend. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. And here's Karina.
Thank you, Mac. And now here's Zach Brown with your sports.
Shiner in Hallettsville and Austin hoping to punch their ticket to a state championship game. I'll have that coming up in sports. Shiner has their state semifinal game tonight. The other team headed to state, their Lavaca County counterpart, the Hallettsville ladies. They will have their state semifinal game in Austin at 10 a.m. That is tomorrow morning. They had one more practice this morning before hitting the road. Those girls won a state title just 2 years ago, got their hearts broken last year, maybe some unfinished business for the Lady Brahmas. I was able to speak with them yesterday afternoon, and needless to say, they know what's at stake and they couldn't be more excited as they hope to bring some hardware back to Brahman Nation.
Impacted us. I think we're going to be better prepared now, knowing like what happened our freshman year, and especially from last year. That was very devastating because we wanted to get back to Austin, but this year I think we're definitely going for the gold again, and I mean, it's just a dream.
It's everything we've worked for all season. It's really exciting, and we're ready to play and win the state championship. There's definitely a bunch of pressure just because like we know we're losing 6 seniors this year, and it's kind of like our last chance for a while, and it is a lot of pressure, but we know we can do it.
We will hear from Macy's sister Carson Yansky and Coach Cresta tonight at 10, their state semifinal game tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Now back to Shiner. They begin their quest for that state title tonight against Crawford. That's just in 30 minutes, 7 p.m. It's been about 7 years since the last time the girls made it here, with their last state title being back in 2016. But winning is the expectation for that Comanche program. We will have highlights and hopefully a final score in favor of Shiner tonight in 25 News Now at 10. Stay tuned to see if the Lady Comanches can punch that ticket to a state title. The lone baseball team remaining in the crossroads, that is the Ganado Indians, trying to continue to make school history. Now, if you follow us on Facebook, watch our show, or been to our website, then you know this is the furthest they have ever been. And now as they try and continue that title push, they get a team that they beat twice in the regular season, that being the Flatonia Bulldogs. The games will be in a familiar territory, Hallettsville. Once again, game 1 is going to be Thursday at 7 p.m. Major League Baseball umpire Angel Hernandez has retired after more than 3 decades. He has the reputation among many baseball players and fans as one of the worst baseball umpires. His last game was May the 9th for the where he umpired for the Chicago White Sox and Cleveland Guardians contest at Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago. The 62-year-old Hernandez said he wants to spend more time with his family. Hernandez joined the Major League staff back in 1993, 2 years after calling his first game as a call-up umpire. He umpired a dozen division series, 8 league championship series, 2 World Series, and 3 All-Star games. Hernandez was often an unpopular figure. During his career, he was often skewered by irate fans, players, and managers for suspect ball and strike calls and other controversial on-the-field decisions. All right, well, that is it for your sports. Donna Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Zach. We're back in a moment. Plus, one couple's marriage ring went missing, only to be found 25 years later.
Finally tonight, David and Lisa Allen were college sweethearts married years ago, but when David fell into alcoholism, that all changed. David started his journey to sobriety as the divorce finalized. As he sat on his brother's dock in 1998, his wedding ring came off. 25 years later, the two lovebirds reconnected over a song. Divers that got involved searched that lake for 4 days and finally found the missing ring 25 years later. The happy couple reunited, their commitment coming full circle. What are the odds on that happening? Oh my word, my goodness, wow. Thank you to those divers.
Absolutely.
Great job.
They got great eyes.
Yeah.
In the mud. Can you imagine the silt?
Well, don't they just use a little metal?
Possibly,
I was
yeah.
gonna say.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Or they're just going there.
Searching for anything in there?
A hard way.
Hey, there's still about 30 minutes for people to vote.
Yes.
Is weather going to get in the way?
Not a problem. The stormy weather that we had this afternoon is pretty much gone for the night. It's settled down, so you have no excuse to get out to the polls today. Now, tomorrow, we still have the chance of additional thunderstorms. In fact, we may even have some overnight because they're coming at us from the west. We'll take a look at it coming up tonight at 10.
Thank you, Mac, and thanks for joining us.
We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.